So last lesson we looked at what happens if we have two functions that are added or subtracted from each other. And so our next step is to look at what happens if two functions are multiplied together and there's a product there. So this is the product rule. So the derivative of the product of two functions is the first function times the derivative of the second function plus the second function times the derivative of the first function. Okay, so that's pretty confusing, but we'll work through it and we'll develop a kind of a pattern and then you'll see how it goes. So if the function fg, so f and g are multiplied together, then, and they're both differentiable, then what we can do is we can take the derivative of the first, and then just keep g the same. Then we're going to keep the first and take the derivative of the second. We can also look at this in Leibniz notation as well, where we have the regular function, the derivative of the second function, the second function, the derivative of the first function. Okay, so let's do some practice to see how this goes. Okay. So I want to take the derivative of this function, and I have a product here. So I have these two parts. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the derivative of this. That's going to give me 3x squared. Then I'm going to keep this one exactly the same as it is. Okay. Now I need to do the opposite. I'm going to keep the first one exactly the same. Take the derivative of the second one, which is going to be 2x minus 2. Okay. So I take the derivative. Then I add, I take the derivative. Okay, now we're going to multiply this out and combine like terms. Okay, I've got a 3x squared and a 4x squared. I mean, a 3x to the power of 4 and a 2x to the power of 4. So that's 5x to the power of 4. And then, oh, sorry, this should be a 3. And a negative 6 and a negative 2. That's negative 8x to the power of 3. Now let's try another one. Okay, so let's call this my first function. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take the derivative of that first function. I'm going to keep this one exactly the same. Now I'm going to add. Now I keep the first one exactly the same. And I'm going to take the derivative of the second one. Okay, now I'm just going to clean this up so I can actually see what I've got here. Okay, so I've got 3x minus 5 all over to root x. And then this over here is 3 root x, square root x. Okay, so I want to add these terms together because I want to simplify as much as possible. So I need to multiply this by the common denominator 2 root x. So let's just extend that. Okay, so 3 root x times 2 root x is 6x. Now I can combine these like terms, 9x minus 5 over 2 root x. I can also break this up. So I could also write this as 9x over 2 root x minus 5 over 2 root x. And then if I did that, then I could get rid of this on the bottom and change that to a root x on the top. Oh, geez. Okay, so these are two answers that are saying the exact same thing. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, here's my first function. So I'm going to take the derivative of it. This one's complicated because I'm going to need to use the difference rule inside of this. Okay, so there's the derivative of the first function. I'm going to keep this second one exactly the same way as it is. Okay, now I'm moving on to the second part. So that's added to. I'm going to keep the first function exactly the same. And now I'm going to take the derivative of the second function. Okay, now I just want to clean this up a little bit so that I can combine like terms. I'm going to binomial distribute this x. I'm going to do 8x times 3x to the 3, 24x to the 4, and then 8x times -1, and then 10x to the -3 times 3 to the +3, and then 10x to the -3 times -1. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I've just got one term over here though, so I'm going to have 36x to the 4 minus 45, x to the 0. Okay, I'm going to look for like terms. I have this guy and this guy. Sorry, this is a -3. Okay, so 24 and 36 is 60. And then this 8x doesn't go with anything. This minus 10x to the -3 doesn't go with anything. And 30 minus 45 is -15. So this guy is done. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, take the derivative of the first. Keep the second as it is. Now do the opposite. Keep the first. Take the derivative of the second. Okay, I'm going to multiply this out. One half x to the -1/2 times root x is just going to be 1/2. And then 1/2 times -4 is -2, x to the -1/2. I've got the same thing happening here. That's just going to be 1/2. And then I have 3/2 x to the -1/2. Combine my like terms. I have a 1 and a 1/2 and a 1/2, so that's going to be 1. And then I have 2 or -2 plus 1 and 1/2. So that's -1/2 and x to the 1/2, -1/2. You can also write that as 1/2 root x. Okay, let's try a word problem. So let's say we want to find the slope of the tangent to the given curve at point x. I'm sorry, there's a problem here with my question. So it's just this. So ignore all of this. Your sheet should look better. Just get rid of all this. So this is my function. Negative 2x squared plus 5x, x squared minus 3x plus 8. So here are my two functions. It's just a bit longer. So the first thing that I want to do is I need to find the derivative, and my given point is x minus 1. So 1. Okay, so I'm going to take f of x. I'm going to take the derivative of the first, keep the second, plus keep the first, derivative of the second. I'm going to multiply this out. No, actually, I'm going to plug this in. Now that makes more sense. I don't need to simplify it because I might as well just plug in my 1. I'm just putting 1 in for all of my x spots. And now I'm just going to solve. Negative 4 times 1 plus 5 is negative 1. Oh, sorry, positive 1. 1 minus 3 plus 8 is 6. Plus negative 2 plus 5 is 3. And 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Positive 1 times 6 is 6. And 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. So f at 1 is 3. So this is the slope of the tangent when x equals 1. Okay, let's try another one. When x equals 4. Same idea, just a bit more complicated. Okay, derivative of the first. Keep the second. Plus, keep the first. Derivative of the second. Okay, I'm going to plug this in now. Oops, of 4. I'm putting a 4 into all my x spots. And now I'm just going to start to solve. So this is 1 over 4. This is root 4 is 2, so 3 times 2 is 6. Root of 4 is 2. 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 64. So this is negative 2 over 64. And this is 3 over 4. Okay, I want to keep going, cleaning this up. 16 plus 6. Actually, let's add that. So 22. Sorry, guys, I made a mistake here. This is why it's kind of different. Okay, so this was a negative 2. Okay, so this is actually 1 over 16. So I actually have 1 over 16, and I need this 6 to be over 16. 6 times 16 is 96. There we go. And I want to put these together. So I'm going to make this 1/32 and 24/32.